You played a lot of games against Melbourne. Is it fair or not, the way they defend?
Look, I'm not going to go. It's hard because if I don't believe.
Just be honest.
I don't like wrestling personally. That's me. But that's the way the game is. That's what Melbourne's brought into the game however many years ago. Everyone else has bought into it. Every other club, they just do it better than everyone else, and that's the reason why we're talking about Melbourne.
Should the game be getting it out of the game? Should the NRL be coming up with some strategies to try and minimise the impact, not just with Melbourne, but with every club who try to wrestle? Because Melbourne are the best team because they do it best. The other teams copy Melbourne because if they don't, there's no chance of winning.
Again, the coaches brought this in. The coaches brought the wrestling in. The coaches have got to work at how to get it out. For me, there's a way to beat Melbourne.
But there's no willingness from the coaches to get it out.
Yeah, well, that's the coach. Well, they've got to stop whinging about it. If the coaches can't work out a way to get away from it, well, stop whinging about it. At the end of the day, there's two teams I believe that it showed the way to beat Melbourne this year. The Bulldogs early this year weren't playing terrible, but they moved the ball, they completed high, and they got into their back rowers and their three men, which is their halfback. They made them make tackles. There was two in tackles. They couldn't wrestle. They tied their big men out around the middle. And then they shifted to the other side and, again, made their other half and their back row make tackles. They couldn't get in and wrestle the ruck. They played quick and they troubled them. Manly did it. The Sharks do it really well. If you can move the ball on Melbourne and make their four-man, which is their back rower, and their halves make tackles, don't run up the middle and fall into the trap of having their big men wrestle up the ruck, you can beat them and you can worry them. And you play second phase off.
That means you need to take the predictability at some level out of your attack and move some variety to the edges.
Yeah, that means the other teams have got to start playing football against them. If you're just going to go one-out runs back behind the ruck, they're going to catch you. Cam Smith's going to slow you down. The bloke from the market, what they do really well is going to come in and chop the legs. The other guy's going to pull him down. They're going to talk. The line set in defence have got 2 or 3 seconds to be nice and slow, ready, and not be fatigued. You've got to fatigue them. You can't just keep going at them when we know they're the best wrestling team in the competition. Otherwise, we're going to talk about it week in, week out, how good they are at slowing down the ruck and wrestling.